what's been great is to hear someone sort of saying, oh, well, if art doesn't have to be this particular thing, then maybe nothing else in my life has to be this sort of thing. And I think that's it, you know, that's the point in which you go, okay, this is having an effect. Back in November 2012, I went and met with Holly Revel, who's the photography teacher at Leyton Sixth Form College. Leyton wanted an artist in residence, and so we really wanted to break down what an artist in residence is and what they would do. So it was really about finding a project that would work with the artists and with the students to activate space. It ended up being what the theme was about.
We tried to transform the street, which is a huge corridor that we go through to our lessons, and try and see how people react to it, if we can change the environment.
We started off by exploring the street and kind of what they thought of it already, and they came up with words like bleak, emotionless, bland. Then we developed ways of trying to change that way that they felt about it. We developed experiments, which we then pushed further and then got them to kind of test those out for real in the street.
It's a form of art that's not really taught at school or even college.
This project has helped get quite significant numbers of students to reflect on what they're doing and on the place of art in their lives or in societies.
I feel like they got something out of it that they couldn't have got if the project hadn't happened.
It was really interesting how they just grabbed hold of these things and took them to amazing places.
I was just amazed at how successful it was. It was just a really ambitious thing to do, and it worked out. It was fantastic.
My piece was called Freeze. I blew a whistle and it made a really loud noise throughout the whole of the street, and when people involved heard it, they had to freeze in that position for 5 minutes. And it was long enough so that people could sort of realise that people were frozen and just see their reactions from that. And then I blow the whistle after 5 minutes again, and then people just continue as per normal. And it was a really, really fun thing.
At a certain point in your learning, you think that art is one thing, and that's often drawing and it's often painting. And I think what this project does is kind of say, actually, art can be a lot of things.
There were only two different kinds of art in my mind. There was performing arts, and then there was art as in what you go to a gallery for.
To me, it was like expressing yourself through drawing.
There was a piece at the Tate a while ago where there were just a bunch of people walking up and down and stuff. Like, looking back, I can sort of actually appreciate that as art now.
I'd never thought of it as such a physical thing before.
It's showing me the power of which these pieces of art can hold.
Art can be anything you make of it, I guess.
Art can be everything, really. Art is in the mind, in a way.
I think we're living in a ridiculously instrumentalist culture in which money, work and value are kind of confused.
It's about developing as a person as well as learning what other people have done and experienced before you. It might be one of those experiences that they will remember for years to come in a way that they might not remember some of the more formal education that they've had.
My name's Marion Touré and I did How You Feeling. I asked people how they're feeling on the street and how does the experiments that we're doing affect you. The whole aim of it was people to reflect on themselves and like think of the moment, because you just walk down the street and they don't really think about things.
I think it has helped people think in a slightly different way to the norm. Just being a catalyst for a bit of reflection is hugely beneficial.
Being allowed the freedom to do something different gives students a different perspective on what learning is and allows them to be creative even if they maybe haven't considered that they're creative themselves.
The last couple of weeks I've seen a massive difference in the students.
One of my form was involved in it, and she's not an art student, and she just said it was great, it was one of the most interesting things she'd done and she wants more of it. It seems to have been something that's really transformed her.
I think a lot of the time in schools you don't realise the power you have, and I think that's the case as a young person. Learning to understand that power is really important. I've seen that happen over the course of the 3 months we've been working in the school.
I did a piece called The Power of the People, and it was meant to show how individual people can have such an impact on the surrounding environment and the population. My piece comprised of a series of famous speeches to show the effects that these people had on that era. I'd love to continue these kind of pieces of art.
I would like to do something like this in the future.
I've met new people and I've learnt new things.
It just gives me a more creative mindset.
This is the first time that I'm trying something like this, and I don't know if I'll have a chance to again.
I think sometimes these sorts of projects aren't given the time and space that they need.
The college has continued to invest massively at a time when funding for enrichment type activities is largely gone now. We think that it's still hugely important to try and get students to genuinely stretch their boundaries, gain new experiences.
For a school to say, actually, we want to look at making students that question the world is really important.
I think education is more than the immediate imparting of knowledge with a view to passing exams. Education can change lives, can make people think in a different way, and something as thought-provoking as this project fits that wider conception that brought lots of us into education in the first place.
So hopefully some of these young people will take this and think about this when they're 30, 40 or even my age.